We all know Shakespeare's sonnets, right? They're these timeless classics, the kind of poetry that's basically a cornerstone of English literature. But what if that's not the whole story? What if there's something else entirely?
Everything kicks off right here with this line, the very first line of the entire collection. It feels familiar, doesn't it? But I want you to hold that thought because we are about to see this line and all the ones that follow in a completely new light.
So let's just ask a wild question. What if this incredible collection of poetry isn't just art, but architecture? A meticulously designed structure hiding in plain sight for over 400 years that actually functions as a clock.
Okay, let's get into it. This is a pretty radical idea. It suggests that the order of the sonnets, the way they're all laid out, isn't random at all. It's actually a grand mathematical design, an intricate system that maps poetry onto time itself.
And it has a name, the Sonnets Pyramid. The core of the theory is that all 154 sonnets are intentionally built into a massive 14-tiered structure. And then, this entire pyramid is laid perfectly over a 365-day calendar. It's an absolutely astonishing claim, poetry as a timekeeping device.
So, you might be wondering, how on earth could that possibly work? Well, according to the theory, it's all built on an incredibly detailed foundation, where the smallest piece of the poem, a single line, is assigned a specific block of time.
Let's go back to that very first line. In this system, it's not just the opening of a sonnet, it has coordinates. It's line number 1 in tier number 1, and it corresponds to day number 1. Every single line has a unique, precise address inside this massive structure.
And when I say precise, I mean incredibly precise. It's not just one line per day or anything like that. No, each line is given an exact window of time calculated right down to the second. So, from fairest creatures we desire increase corresponds to the first 4 hours, 3 minutes, and 7 seconds of the entire year. This isn't just a metaphor, it's a mathematical framework.
And this entire framework has to account for every single line. That's a grand total of 2,155 lines.
All perfectly organized across 154 sonnets.
And all of those lines are systematically mapped across 364 days. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hang on. A year has 365 days. You are absolutely right. And that final day, well, that one's special. We'll get to it in just a minute.
So, okay, this is a fascinating theory, but is there any real evidence for it in the text itself? Well, the people who back this theory argue that the author left clues, actual hints pointing directly to this clockwork design.
And here's probably the biggest clue of all. This line from Sonnet 12. When I do count the clock that tells the time. I mean, come on, it doesn't get much more direct than that. A line in a supposed poetic calendar that is literally about counting a clock.
But is it just a coincidence, a poetic turn of phrase, or is its placement just as important as its meaning? According to the pyramid theory, in a structure this precise, there are no coincidences.
Okay, so check this out, because this is where it gets really mind-bending. The first tier of the pyramid ends with line 154. The very next line, 155, is our count the clock line, and that line is the exact one that kicks off tier 2 of the pyramid on day 27. The line about a clock literally starts the next level of the structure. If that was done on purpose, well, that's just remarkable.
So let's zoom out. Let's step back from the individual lines and sonnets and take a look at the grand architecture of the pyramid itself. You can break the whole thing down into 3 main parts. First, you have the 14 tiers, which are the main layers of the pyramid. Second, you've got the 364-day grid that those tiers are built on. And third, there's that special final day, which stands apart in what's called column O, the 365th day. And here's a look at how it's laid out. Those 364 days are distributed evenly across the 14 tiers, so each tier covers a neat block of 26 days. The math here is incredibly tight. The theory even points to a mechanism it calls a 13-day synchronization heartbeat, a tiny 1-second adjustment every 13 days to make sure the clock never drifts. It keeps the entire system perfectly in sync.
And that brings us back to that final day, day 365. It's called the Capstone of Eternity. Think about it. If the 14 tiers are the body of the pyramid, then this last day is the single stone placed at the very peak. It completes the structure, but it also sits above it, symbolizing something beyond the yearly cycle, a concept of eternity.
So, what do we do with all this? It's a complex, multi-layered system of math and symbolism supposedly embedded in a collection of 400-year-old poems. It really just raises one enormous question.
If this theory is correct, it completely reframes one of the greatest works of literature ever written. It turns it into something new, a data structure, a precisely engineered system as intricate as any clock, designed to hold and transmit information. It would mean this incredible secret has been hiding in plain sight all this time, just waiting. And that leads to the final, tantalizing mystery. If this structure really is intentional, why was it built? Was it just a very complicated calendar, an intellectual puzzle for the ages? Or was it designed to carry a hidden message, maybe even a prophecy, aimed at a distant future? That, right there, is the ultimate question.